Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Tonight we are going to be casting some SpyParty competitive league. We are closing out Season 5 shortly, and we are in the post-season Tournament of Position with a match between Wodar from Gold Division and jd105l from Obsidian Division. Joining me tonight is my co-caster, SpedMonkey.
Good evening, everybody.
And so, for those who don't know, the Tournament of Position is a post-season tournament. The top two players from all of the lower divisions were entered into a bracket of 16, together with the bottom two finishers from Gold Division. The two players from Gold Division are fighting to hold on to their spots, and the other 14 players are fighting to climb their way up to those spots themselves. And that's exactly the situation that we're going to be seeing play out here tonight, as we do have a match between one of the Gold Division players. Unfortunately, Wodar went 0-2 in the first two rounds of the tournament and has lost his spot in Gold. Meanwhile, JD also went 0-2, and the way the bracket works is the players who have the same record in the tournament go up against each other. That said, the stakes are still here for JD. If JD wins this match, he will get a promotion from Obsidian up into Iron. SpedMonkey, can you tell me a little bit about what we can expect to see from these players tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you said, the Swiss bracket, which is the way the tournament of position is structured, has it so that the players with the same records play against each other. Wodar, unfortunately, has run into the two representatives from Challenger, who are basically wildcards in this tournament. The reason they're in Challenger is because they joined in the middle of the season and not because they're less skilled or anything else than anybody else. And both Fabsies and Jake have been making a very, very good showing for themselves in this tournament.
Yeah,
Meanwhile,
and
Jade,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
uh, yeah, JD was matched up with Ryu in the first round and Zero Doom in the second, who are both excellent players as well. And that's not to say that everybody in this tournament isn't excellent players. JD finished second in Obsidian. His only loss in the season was to Ascend Beyond, who went undefeated.
Yeah, and basically the whole point of the Tournament of Position, is to see just how skilled these lower division players are. And, the whole thing is founded based on the idea that some players in lower divisions might be a lot better than their division indicates. And with Challenger, it really is sort of a wild card situation, because to get into Challenger, it's not like you're sorted there based on any perceived skill level. You're just there because you joined while the season was underway. Um, and so with Obsidian, there's definitely more of an expectation attached to it. Though I believe, this season, Obsidian definitely just has a lot of people who signed up later than others, and so it was one of the bottom divisions available at the time. But either way, we have sort of I would say sort of a barometer here, because we can compare and see, how well JD can do against Wodar compared to the challengers. And maybe we'll see Wodar instead get his first win.
Yeah, I mean, the common refrain on Wodar is that he plays down to his competition or up to it. Um, you know, he did fairly decently in gold, not well enough to avoid the tournament position, unfortunately. But I mean, I think everybody up through Diamond considers him a formidable opponent in the right situation.
Yeah, I mean, Wodar has been here since the start. He's been playing since Season 1, where he was in Copper, then made it up to Bronze, then in Season 3 made it up to Silver, where he stayed for quite a while. But this was his first season in Gold, and it's not like he did terribly. He started off the season really, really strong, and we can take a look, over here at the standings. In the first 4 weeks, Wodar got 3 wins. Win against OP Rights, who finished second in the division, and we just saw OP Rights in the gold finals the other day doing amazingly well, hitting almost every single sniper game. And unfortunately, then the second half of the season didn't go as well for Wodar, but still got some early wins against Royal Flush, against Lazy Bear, who, finished third. So Wodar is definitely a competitor, and I think you're right about sort of the psychological aspect sometimes about how you might play up or down to someone. If you're in a match where the stakes are huge and you're up against a tough opponent, you might really dial in. And in this situation, like we were saying, Wodar doesn't necessarily have as much to play for here, other than, I would say, bragging rights. Wodar has lost his spot in gold, but this is still a tournament, and you want to finish as high as you can. Someone in this bracket of 16 is going to lose all four of their games, and you don't you don't want to end up being that person. So we'll see what sort of mindset Wodar has going into this.
Absolutely. And on the other hand, JD also has a lot to play for. As you mentioned earlier, if JD can manage to eke out a win here against Wodar, then he'll win an automatic promotion, at least to Iron, if not higher, because the rules are you get a promotion. It doesn't say how high.
It's definitely a promotion up to the next division. Since JD finished second in Obsidian, that wouldn't necessarily be guaranteed otherwise unless people drop from above divisions. And so we do have the players starting their draft up now. What can we expect to see from Wodar?
Well, Wodar's pretty unpredictable as far as his bans go. He's famous or infamous, depending on your point of view, for banning nothing. But during this tournament of position run, has made some targeted bans. For example, he banned Ballroom against Thabsies, which is one of Thabsies' biggest comfort picks. It wouldn't be a surprise here to see him ban Gallery, since it's one of JD's comfort picks, and it's statistically one of the venues that Wodar is actually the worst on.
And that's exactly what Wodar does. It looks like Wodar is in this to win this. If there was any chance that he wasn't, it's gone now. Maybe if there was no ban, I would have said, all right, he's letting JD pick Gallery. He's okay with letting JD get that advance. But Wodar is clearly going to be fighting for it. Meanwhile, JD has banned Library, and we just saw JD play Library last week, didn't we?
Absolutely. It wasn't his pick. Zero Doom picked it against him, and JD afterwards said that he would be avoiding Library from here on out, based on that experience.
Yeah, JD doesn't seem to be comfortable with 5 of 8 maps in general, though that's not likely something Wodar is going to punish with his first two picks. And we have Wodar doubling Balcony and JD doubling Terrace.
Yep, that's as expected for both of them. It's pretty on brand.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I have cast or even watched a single match of the ToP yet where Terrace wasn't picked. Except for, was it Pox? I think it might have been Pox. One person who wisely banned Terrace. I think that was Pox versus Coddy. And Coddy, of course, was the most likely to pick Terrace out of anyone because he is from Iron. Now we have second picks coming in. Wodar picking Tayen, as expected, and JD choosing High Rise.
Yep, so we're still on brand for both players. And I just want to circle back to the Terrace pick. It's kind of surprising given how unpopular it was during the regular season across the divisions.
Yeah, but a lot of lower seeds have been picking it, and I think the reason is just because the higher seeds haven't been playing it a lot, so you think they might be less comfortable with it. Now we have the final picks coming in. What's your prediction for Wodar's third pick? Because he usually just picks Balcony, Tayen, Courtyard when given the option.
Yeah, I would not be surprised at all to see him go with Courtyard for his last pick.
And yet, Wodar has chosen Aquarium.
That kind of makes sense, because Wodar probably assumes that on a venue that he can abuse his aggressive spy play against what he thinks is a weaker player, Aquarium is a great pick for that.
And we do have the players getting in game now. JD closed it out with Veranda. And it looks like the players are ready to go. What do you think about JD picking Veranda, though?
Not that actually that big a surprise. He did very well on that statistically during the regular season. In a few games, he both picked it and banned it equally, probably as a targeted pick, sort of. But when he did pick it, he did very well on it.
Yeah, JD definitely doesn't seem comfortable on the other 5 of 8 maps, but it seems like Veranda has some sort of love it or hate it relationship. But like you said, his stats there have been good, so it looks like he's feeling confident about it. I'm shocked not to see Courtyard from Wodar. I don't know what made Courtyard miss out this time. But either way, we are in game. Wodar starting off on balcony, playing Bling Twin, getting an early window flirt over here with Oprah and picking up an immediate highlight for it. The good news is that Rocker was joining the pair as a third wheel as well. And since there wasn't much happening in the conversation, those three at windows are probably the top suspects right now. Banana Bread coming off, letting off Rocker, unfortunately, which means we are the flirt pair.
Yes, but the other good news is we've hit 2 green so far. One more, we get a 3 green game. It's so hard to shoot for that.
It is. If we just wait in this conversation, wait for the cooldown to expire and hit another green, I think that's the only way that Wodar can win this. If we have to talk next to Oprah 2 more times, I think that could get us in trouble.
Well, there it is. That's
Wow.
the second green.
Well, there's no way. There's no way that JD's going to be able to shoot for this. Even if he wanted to, you just don't take that risk. And you expect that your opponent's not going to hit 3 greens because the chances of it are so low. And there we go. Wodar gets an early first win.
Yeah, that's definitely what Wodar wants to see starting off on his favorite venue. Starting off with a 3 green game, that's about as good as it gets.
Yeah, I mean, I've always wondered how Wodar's opponents feel about the balcony pick. I've personally been too scared to pick balcony because I always worry about what happens if it swings the other way around. But obviously Wodar is comfortable with it, and it definitely catches opponents off guard, I'm sure. But you know what? JD had the opportunity to ban it, and he chose not to. So we'll see how JD does on the spy side this time.
Yep, we're stepping in here as Alice, right next to our seduction target, picking up a nice green to start with as well.
And the seduction target is the one who gets the highlight. We're talking pretty early as well, but the thing is, it's not that suspicious because there aren't a lot of people in the conversation, so it would have naturally passed to us anyway. That's, again, a lot of people at windows, but this time they're all separate, so they're not really going to be suspects for Wodar. JD's hope here is that Irish will be the one who gets shot.
And JD also has to be hoping that she can, or we're just going to chase her instead to the windows and hope to pick up a flirt here. There it is. We pick up a green, up to 100. Now we just need a banana bread, and we're done.
I can't believe that we're seeing 2 games in a row without a single white test flirt. JD picks up the highlight right now, but JD is never going to speak next to Irish again, and that means Wodar really might not be able to take the shot. Bad news is Irish isn't looking very spy-like. She's doing a briefcase return. It's going to be up to Wodar to decide if he thinks that JD would go for that or not, but we just need Irish to enter conversation so we can get the contact. Now everyone is in. JD needs to go for it. A green banana bread would be a certain win for JD, but even a white one might not necessitate a shot from Wodar, and it's a green banana bread. We're just seeing so many green tests, and Wodar is going to be in the same exact situation that he was just in, not able to take a shot, and with that, JD is going to bring it to 1-1. These green flirts are insane.
We are currently 6 for 6 on green tests. Haven't seen a single white, and of course not a single red.
Can I have the secret to this?
I feel like if I had this secret, I would be unstoppable.
Yeah, well, on balcony, that's definitely true. I don't know. Are there any games where a spy hit 3 greens on balcony and the sniper correctly shot them? I wonder if there's any way to look that up in the database, but I don't think that you can sort by green tests. If only Track was here.
I want to say I've seen it happen against some of the more, like, at the very highest levels. But in any case, we're starting now as Kane. Innocent drink sip at the windows next to the ambassador.
Definitely can't be flirting, but there was a bug attempt. It actually took, which I'm surprised about because we were both moving seemingly in opposite directions at the time. I would have thought that arm would have been visible as well, but JD didn't catch it, and that means Wodar is in a really good position to win here. Everyone is in conversation. Now's the time for a banana bread, but instead Wodar is just doing an innocent talk. I'm not sure how good of an idea that is, but I guess if the yellow arrow comes to you, it comes to you. But everyone was in conversation, so even if you had a no talk, it wouldn't have given the sniper any extra information.
And that right there was the power of the Kane walking bug. Even if you see it, you can't be sure you saw it.
And there's the banana bread coming off. JD has to take the shot if he thought there was a bug, but it looks like he doesn't suspect it at all, and so Wodar is going to be fighting back with a very different game than a 3 green, and going up to 2 points.
But, just to point out, it's another green test. We're 7 for 7.
Wow, I didn't even realize that. I don't think it would have mattered if that one was a white test, but we're just hitting the greens anyway.
At this point, I'm curious what the longest streak between two players is. If Warning Track is watching, hopefully he can pull that up for us.
Yeah, I would have to assume that 7 green tests in a row has to be challenging for the longest streak. But I don't know if that's even something you would be counting on any venues other than balcony. This is really the only place where we would notice it so much.
Taking a long pause here between games, which is interesting. I wonder if we're watching the replays of that sick bug or what.
Yeah, we can take a look at it maybe after the match ends and take a look at it ourselves. But now we have JD playing as Seek.
Yep, and we picked up a highlight maybe for that bug path at the beginning.
That's unfortunate to get an early highlight for something that you really weren't even intending to do, just taking control and walking into conversation, but unfortunately you pathed behind the ambassador, and it looks like Wodar was worried about it. If Wodar really thinks there was a bug, Wodar could shoot as soon as a banana bread comes off, but I would like to think that Wodar could have seen that a bug didn't happen there. But either way, there's the banana bread. Was that another green banana bread?
That was a green flirt followed by a green banana bread. We are 9 for 9.
We're at 9 greens now. Maybe there's some sort of alternate game mode that got added where green tests happen every time, because otherwise I can't believe this. Anyway, JD just en route for this 3-green game. I mean, obviously he's going to hit another one, and in that case, Wodar will have no reason to shoot. That's been the story of the night. That's another bug path entering next to the ambassador. The thing is, I don't know if Wodar had the right angle to guard for that bug, so he really just has to guess if Seek bugged or not. And there's another green test! At this time, Wodar is able to take the shot!
Wow. It finally came true. We're 10 for 10, but the bug paths and just the pathing out and coming right back to the same, next to the same target, that had to have been it.
Yeah, and I think that might have just been a little bit unlucky for JD because of that highlight for the, maybe it was a highlight for take control, maybe it wasn't for a potential bug path, but what a fitting ending to that set of balcony games. 10 green tests in a row, and because Wodar was able to shoot for the 3 green, which we were just wondering if anyone was capable of doing, he takes the map 3-1 and is at a huge advantage going into JD's pick of Terrace.
Yep, and here we are, Wodar stepping right into the game. No pauses, as Kane again, coming right to bar, taking an innocent drink, and we'll see what he does with it. Note that swap and inspector off, so we have no statues this game.
Yeah, and well, you say innocent drink. I mean, the drink doesn't have a print on it, but we are able to delegate with it. And luckily, there were a few people at the bar. Now, as we're waiting, there's even more people joining us here. So if we fire off a delegate, there's going to be a lot of options. JD has to really, really be on top of this.
And we picked up a flirt because our seduction target came next to us, but we broke the streak.
Well, that's fine. We're not on balcony. I think we can all feel proud about 10 green tests in a row. You know, we're on terrace now. Things just work differently here.
That's certainly true, and we did pick up the delegate from the bar there.
Yeah, and so basically if we enter that empty conversation, someone could enter next to us and we could send it off to them, but instead we're joining this really crowded conversation. We're getting a banana bread. There are a few lowlights available, but the good news is that everyone who's not low-lit has real BB. We send the delegate off immediately afterwards, and we're going to hope, for Wodar's sake, that the banana bread distracted JD enough that he doesn't remember exactly who was next to who in this conversation.
And Seek took it. Seek is not a low light, so we have that going for us.
And now we're seeing JD's reaction, highlights coming off on the twin as well as Kane. Seek not getting a highlight. JD doesn't seem to think that this was a direct purloin. Maybe just an assumption that the spy would delegate.
Yeah, but based on these highlights, we're down to 2.
And there we go.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's when you have to take it. We were talking that could have been the final flirt, and so since JD was seemingly pretty confident about who sent off the delegate after all, he's able to take the shot seemingly very confidently and gets the first game on terrace, which is exactly what he needed being behind here. Is if he gets a spy win on terrace, which presumably he has some sort of plan for how to get that done here, then he'll bring it back up to a tie, which would be really good after how balcony went.
Absolutely. And I'm always interested to see how different players approach the missions that they take on Terrace, or any 3 of 5 for that matter. It's always interesting to see who decides to keep statues on, who sometimes take bug off, purloin, etc.
Yeah, and we saw the standard setup on that last game. Looks like we have some replay watching there from Wodar, maybe trying to figure out what went wrong. Especially if Wodar finishes the game and sees that Seek wasn't a highlight, and he's just like, well, wait, I thought I delegated to someone who was in for BB. But JD definitely proved there that he was very, very much on top of delegates. A banana bread couldn't throw him off. If Wodar is planning to go for a similar strategy next time, he might want to think twice.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the next game goes for sure on Wodar's spy side. But for now, it looks like we're getting the same mission set from JD on his spy side.
Yeah, a lot of people just feel that even with the timer up to 3:30, it's unlikely for any of the guests to go visit both sets of statues. The thing is, if it does happen, it gives the sniper a very, very tough challenge because they have to decide whether to shoot or not.
Absolutely. And this Terrace is the only map where the single seduction target is, or excuse me, double agent is known. So that leads to interesting framing opportunities as well.
Yeah, in the first game we just saw a straightforward delegate play and JD was all over it, but we might see a frame from JD here. I think from the players who pick Terrace, they usually have lots of ideas about how they can get away with a spy win, and so we've been seeing some clever plays, sometimes framing, forcing the sniper into a tough 50-50 shot. Meanwhile, Wodar looks to be highlighting for flirts here, highlighting the people who were talking early in this conversation, but we were able to get a flirt off for 31% without being highlit.
Absolutely. And we're taking it slow to start here, which is not at all the wrong approach to take on Terrace, where you have a lot of time to make plays and scope out the party.
Yeah, now we're heading over to the bar. We're getting a highlight now. I thought those early highlights on Boots and Kane were for the talking conversation, but now there's a highlight coming over here at bar. Highlights maybe getting a little bit muddied up. I'm sure Wodar's on top of it, though.
It's possible, and it might just be because JD has been one of the most active guests at the party at this point. You know, he started in the conversation circle, went out to Windows, then went to bar. He's been moving around a lot.
Yeah, and that's an instant talk entering conversation. So if Wodar is watching JD, that talk is definitely going to stand out, especially when JD still needs a lot of mission progress. Hopefully the highlight on JD is just for going to the bar and Wodar isn't watching too carefully except to see if a delegate goes off. And here's a contact going off instead. The front conversation is the one that has more people in it, and we are letting off a few lowlights. Wodar already lining up a shot, not even waiting. The list isn't gone. We certainly don't have any fingerprints. And the only way that shot is justified in terms of mission count is if you think the twin bugged. But it looks like Wodar was just certain about it. Something about JD's behavior wasn't looking right, apparently.
It was a red BB. Wodar very well might have seen the arm come up.
I did not notice that there was a cough, so that's my bad.
Yep, sometimes you cough and you die. Interestingly, though, it started as a fake contact, and the double agent came into the circle as it was going off, so it was transformed into a real one, which is a nice bit of tech, if you can pull it off.
It's good timing. I just don't know if it was the right timing for the banana bread in the first place. The other conversation had more people, so highlights for real BB would have narrowed it down quite a bit. But it looks like Wodar was on to JD anyway. So I'm not sure if JD would have been able to get away with other missions at that point. And now we have Wodar spying as Boots.
Yep, absolutely. We're just kind of hanging out in the time of chaos here, trying to figure out where we want to go, and we're just coming into the innocent conversation circle, scope out the party, and wait for somebody to come to us, hopefully.
Yeah, the seduction target's over at Windows, so we can't really join her that quickly, and God, she's earning herself a low light maybe, going for that briefcase, and she immediately turns around and goes back to Windows, and so we're just stuck in this conversation, not getting much done. The only good news is that we're not looking like a spy, but oh my God, she came right to us, and there's another one of those green flirts.
Wodar using that gold level mind control.
Well, now we're in a much better position. It's still a somewhat slow start, but this party's been pretty active. A lot of people heading off to the bar. The ambassador is in a sort of buggable position. The problem is there's no one near him, so it doesn't look like JD is going to necessarily be too caught up in that at the moment. But also, no one's forcing the ambassador out, which means no prints are going to be available to anyone.
Absolutely, and the seduction target leaves, which is perfectly fine. We still have 2 minutes, 20 seconds to do stuff, but we are going to have to make some moves at some point if we're going to complete here. And we're just going to come right to the seduction target and try and finish our seduce.
Yeah, and we don't hit the green test. It's a white. That's fine. There's still plenty of time. Now the briefcase has finally been left alone, but it looks like the ambassador is still too close for anyone to pick it up. And again, no one's going to be forcing the ambassador out. It's a really unfortunate party for Wodar because no one is going to be getting fingerprints and no one is going to be attempting any bugs here. There's a banana bread coming off. Good news is everyone is in conversation. General might have left. But again, highlights for real BB here would narrow it down to just 3 people. Instead, we just get shot for taking this bug as the ambassador passes behind us before we can even take the other highlights in the conversation.
Yeah, that's a very aggressive bug attempt. And sometimes it's really hard to catch a reverse drive-by like that, even if you don't really have much cover, but JD all over it.
I'm not sure even if we were going to highlight the other people in that conversation for real BB. It might just be that Boots got the highlight for being the one who was talking. But
Absolutely. And JD also might have noticed chasing Red Dress or Oprah or Hair, depending on how you want to call her.
that would be really impressive if he did, because Oprah came to us the first time. But, sometimes, even when your seduction target comes to you, the sniper might not notice. They just see the two of you next to each other and they say, all right, that's a pair. I'll keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, and Terrace is one of those venues where it is relatively more easy to keep track of flirt pairs, just based on the small size and the 12 guests.
Either way, JD is happy to take the 2 sniper wins, and same situation as before, needs a spy win here to tie things back up, especially because of the higher seed having an advantage in tiebreaker. Wodar needs 8 points to win this set, JD needs 9. If you're behind going into the single picks, you're really not in a good situation. JD needs to get the spy win here if he's going to feel comfortable about being able to win the set.
And we pick up a highlight here for going to bar. It seems like this is probably just a rote bar highlight. Just to keep track of who's been and who hasn't.
Yeah, last game for Wodar, though, we saw a nice variety of highlights. There's one coming off on Kane for being an early talker in this conversation. Luckily for us, we're not going to be talking, so if Wodar is watching this bar highlight to see if they're flirting with anyone, the answer right now is going to be no. But we do need Irish to enter conversation at some point, so we can do that.
Yep, we step into the conversation with a double agent who immediately up and leaves.
That's basically JD not getting much mission progress at all. There are a few more bar highlights right now. If we could fake being delegated to by Boots, that could be a really good option. But JD has the flirt on the brain. Going for this briefcase here, that's a very interesting move. There were 3 people going for it, and us and the seduction target both canceled away from it as Kane picked it up. But now she's in a flirtable position, and with just 2 minutes on the clock, if you plan on getting flirt done, which you certainly should, I think, on Terrace, now's the time to go in for it. Don't worry about anything else yet.
Yep, and interestingly, we haven't lost our bar highlight from the very beginning.
Oh, when the ST leaves, we're still not able to get the flirt, so we're going for a fake contact instead. Going to be letting off 3 lowlights, the Twin, Irish, Smallman, Wodar correctly taking them all, highlighting for real BB here, and I think the reason JD did that, first of all, we got a bug by, and then also we just want to hope that maybe someone else gets shot if we're not able to get the flirt done.
Yeah, but we got the bug, and it looked like it was free. We got neutral lit for it. We come to the bar, we pick up a green flirt, so we're actually in pretty good shape now, especially if we can get a delegate off. We actually have avenues to finish here.
Yeah, I mean, we hit a green flirt, which is great. If we can get one more green flirt and fire off a delegate, that would be enough. Of course, a delegate is dangerous. That's a way that you can get shot. Theoretically... Oh! Wow! Wodar was apparently very suspicious of that bug, or suspicious of something else, because with no delegate going off and no real contact for general, still gets the shot.
It had to have been the bug that he saw out of the corner of his eye, and he knew that he didn't have to highlight because he well, he had him firmly in his mind, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess was just waiting for one more talk because he knew the general didn't have real BB, so there's no need to shoot right away if you have any doubt about it. And even then, shooting for that talk would be shooting for a mission count of bug plus flirt. But obviously, Wodar was pretty sure he saw it, just wanted a little bit of extra confirmation or waiting time, which is the safe play. There was no need to take the shot right away.
Absolutely, yeah. Wodar is looking very good thus far this set. If I'm recalling correctly, in both of his sets against Thabsies and Jake, he fell behind early. But here he's taken the lead and he's managed to hold it very well through the first two venues, going into his own pick of Taeyan.
Yeah, and I don't think it's because JD is playing badly at all. It just seems like Wodar is all over it. Both of those Terrace games, JD, the first one, JD just picked up a highlight for some sort of behavioral things that I'm still not even sure what it was. And in this second one, it was just really good watching for the bug. They both watched really well for bugs after contacts.
Absolutely, but now going here into Taeyan, we're starting on small man, and we're picking up a flirt right away at green test 51%.
Yeah, that's been the trend of the night. We missed out on a few of them on Terrace, but let's see how the streak goes on Taeyan. And I have to wonder, ooh, there's a walking bug, drive-by bug, I mean, as the ambassador's passing by us. It doesn't take, but probably not going to be seen. But we are in the front conversations, so it's not as secluded as you can get on Taeyan.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like we've picked up any interest or suspicion from it, from JD.
No, and now the ambassador is passing by us again. It could have been another opportunity, but Wodar is not taking this one. I think if you wait in the back conversation long enough as Smallman, you'll get an opportunity later, so you don't necessarily need to risk it going for a bug in the front conversation.
No, absolutely. But the selection target comes back to us, we talk again, hit another green, and we've got that mission done.
And now I'm wondering what Wodar's plan is. We have finished the flirt, which is great. Now there's 2 minutes on the clock. That doesn't really necessarily mean we're going to have to rush missions, but we are going to have to start making solid progress. We're going in, joining the double agent now. There's a few people out of conversation, so it's not an ideal time for the contact. But if a few more people come into conversation, it'll be pretty good. There's the ambassador walking by again, but we're still not able to get the bug. We're taking the contact now. As Toby's behind us, we're going to be purloining the list, and it is a green test. I don't know how much that matters since the list won't be visible, but Queen just immediately gets shot instead.
I wasn't following Queen's mission progress. She must have been credited for a bug and something else.
Well, you just described Taeyan. You just described every guest on Taeyan. Must have been credited for a bug and something else.
That is a good point. I wasn't following whether she had been to statues or books, though.
Either way, it's an unfortunate start to Taeyan for JD, who really, really needs another win to get back into this set. JD has to really hope for a spy win here, otherwise Wodar will end up on match point after this.
Absolutely, but as we've discovered through all of this season, essentially, Taeyan is a very good venue to get spy wins if need be, so let's see what happens here.
There's another green flirt. That's what's happening. I think I might have gotten a little bit thrown off by 1 or 2 white flirts on Terrace, but I'm pretty sure the green count is probably still at over 90% for these flirts.
Oh, the percentages are extraordinary here. Yeah, so we're at 51% on our seduce. We have our book in hand. We're just putting it back. And then we got to figure out what mission to do next. Are we going to chase our seduction target?
We are, and we're not able to get a spot next to them, but we should still be able to get the flirt up to a pretty decent number, finish it off with one more flirt after this. We're a great character for bugging. The ambassador enters right next to us, but this isn't the bug spot. Oh, 98! You know what? That's more than I thought, though. I thought we were far enough away that it would hit like 90% or something, and it wouldn't have made a big difference anyway. But
yeah, unfortunately, we were in three flirt range there, regardless of what we hit.
Yeah, but of course we're gonna hit. Of course we're gonna hit green tests.
I would be disappointed with anything else.
Either way, I don't know if we really need to stick around in this conversation and timer flirt right now for another 2%. You can get that flirt really easily at any other time. Looked like we wanted to go in and bug the ambassador while he was at the statues, but we're picking up a highlight just for walking to this conversation. We're doing a standing bug here, but unfortunately Wodar doesn't have the angle to see it. I don't know if Wodar is necessarily guarding the bug super closely on Taeyen anyway. It's hard to do. And so there are definitely some snipers who think you shouldn't necessarily devote all your attention to it. Banana Bread coming off. Doesn't look like a lot of lowlights available, but not real, and it's covering for taking this guest list, which is not visible behind the Shoji, but now it becomes immediately visible, and since JD was already a highlight, Wodar was super onto it.
Yeah, and Wodar was guarding that bug actually. He was staring down Sari through the shoji as she was standing there next to Ambassador. He may not have seen exactly the arm move, but he was very suspicious of her the entire time.
Ah, is that it? I thought that that view behind the Shoji wouldn't really give you the bug, because I think both Shojis were on the right side, so I would have thought that you can see the bug better maybe if you're, leaning the other way.
No, I mean I don't think he saw it exactly, or else he would have shot right away. But he was, I think he highlighted for the path as you called out, and then the fact that Sari went in right next to the Ambassador there, he essentially bugged.
Yeah, and he seemingly didn't like something about the path into conversation because we picked up the highlight really as we were moving from the front conversation, once we were done with our flirt, over to the back one, even before we got near the ambassador.
Yep, but here we go, stepping into high rise, which is JD's pick. He needs to sweep this.
Yeah, Wodar is on match point now. Just one more point, and Wodar will get his first win in the tournament position, and would send JD into the 0 and 3 bracket.
Yep. So here's Wodar starting as Alice. He's coming up right next to the seduction target. That was a weird entry into the conversation, but seems to have gone okay.
Yeah, and we're picking up, of course, a nice early flirt for 51%. There's a banana bread coming off, letting off, unfortunately, 2 lowlights, but everyone else is in conversation here, so everyone else who isn't lowlit has real BB.
And it was green, of course.
Of course.
And our seduction target's helping us out now, by the way, by going to statues.
Yeah, that's good news. Unfortunately, it is a side statue, so she'd need to visit one more time. Meanwhile, some very strange suspicion dancing from JD, marking Wodar as suspicious and then brought back down to a neutral light. I wonder what that was all about, but I think it might have just been for going for the briefcase when fingerprints are off. Purloin is on, by the way.
Yeah, my guess was going to be actually that JD just forgot fingerprint was off and hit highlight and then remembered suddenly, oh yeah, wait.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, if I didn't know the mission count, it makes sense that JD doesn't either. Oh wow, another green flirt. Wow, you could. I'm shocked.
Yeah,
I can't believe another green. Wow.
At this point, it's lost its excitement factor. But it was a very quick talk. But yeah, we have 2 missions done here with 2 minutes and 10 seconds left to finish our last mission choice here. So we have a lot of options.
Yeah, if Wodar was a highlight for the briefcase, the talk would have been more visible, but, he got brought back down to neutral. What's the game plan for Wodar here? With 2 minutes left, you can probably pick a really good spot for a bug or a purloin, and if neither of them work out, maybe you can just go to statues later, unless you think that someone else is going to get shot. Rocker is unfortunately the only real candidate for that. If she goes back to statues, she could be in trouble, but if she doesn't, I'm not sure we're going to see a civilian shot coming off here, so Wodar is going to have to get the hardtail off or go to center statues himself.
Well, we're just taking an innocent drink here, so I guess it's not going to be purloin. So how do we finish? We're going to have to gulp down this drink regardless, and then figure out some sort of mission to complete, or we're just going to have to try and get our ST shot.
Yeah, I think the idea might be to just try to lose as much suspicion as possible by taking the briefcase, by taking an innocent drink, so that you're not one of the people that JD is watching, and you're more likely to get away with either the bug or the purloin at a crucial moment. But now there's only a minute left on the clock, and that moment has to come sometime soon. With the drink in our hands, it's going to be hard to do either of them. We need to finish sipping it really quickly.
Yep, there's a sip. And so, our drink is gone. Now, do we purloin? If we can green test it, that's powerful.
Yeah, there's ToP coming to us, but it's going to be a white purloin, which means it's going to be really, really easy to see. Yeah, JD zooming in, trying to see if the list is gone. He sees it just barely in time, and instead of taking a shot, you don't have time to take lowlights for that when the purloin is going off with only, what, 45 seconds left? A contact already gone off with everyone in the party who's not lowlight having real BB. You see the list gone, 45 seconds. You have to assume the flirt is done. You don't have 10 seconds to take lowlights. And with that, Wodar takes the set with a score of 8-3, earning his first win in the ToP, and JD going down to the 0-3 bracket next week. JD not able to do what the challenger players did, couldn't get a win off Wodar, but Wodar had some really impressive play, don't you think?
Both players honestly did. JD had some very, very nice sniper play, especially on Terrace. He was all over a bunch of different things that Wodar tried. You can see why he picked that venue. And I'm personally speaking, JD, despite this loss, it still looks very formidable to me.
Yeah, I think both players were playing really well. Wodar was just very, very on top of everything, and unfortunately, JD just sort of held the shot there. Didn't really take the shot when he needed to. I don't think we're going to do an interview, but we can just take a look at some of the key moments here. There was a bug on balcony that we really wanted to see, isn't that right?
Absolutely. I don't remember which game it was, but it was Wodar Spy. So
yeah, it was the third one, because the first two were the 3 green games, and then Wodar finally got a bug off here as Kane. Let's take a look at that. Wow, no, I'm not surprised now, actually, that I'm looking at it. I'm not surprised that it wasn't seen.
No, the takeaway from this is that Kane is overpowered.
Yeah. Were there any other moments that we wanted to look at? There were some bugs on Terrace as well. Wow, look at this Terrace sniper party spy shot 4 times in a row.
As it should be.
Well, that really has not been how it's been going. We've been seeing a lot of spy wins on Terrace in the ToP. No bug that game. No bug that game. I think it was the next 2 games where bugs happened and players got shot for them. Here's the reverse drive-by from Wodar after the banana bread. Yeah, I can see why you take that. You think it's in the aftermath of a banana bread. Maybe they're not necessarily watching for it, but unfortunately the arm is super visible, and also Wodar had just been highlit for being the person talking in the conversation that had the double agent.
Actually, I would like to see the next game to see how visible the cough was on the banana bread that got twin shot.
Oh, I think that was... that might have been the game before it. And so, oh yeah, here's JD's bug, getting the bug off after the contact. I don't know, on a larger venue, the sniper's going to be distracted getting lowlights everywhere, but on Terrace, it seems to be a little bit more dangerous to try to do a bug right after the banana bread, especially because you cut the talking animation to do it. And I think that explains why Wodar didn't take the shot right away. It seems like the sort of thing that, even if you're not watching for it, you just kind of... Actually, you know what? I'm confused now, because... because JD actually gets brought back down to a neutral light after the bug. And yet Wodar took a really confident shot anyway.
The only thing I can think of is that he had it in his mind that General was his top suspect and didn't want to leave the highlight up for replay or something like that. I'm not really sure, though.
That's interesting. I don't know if Wodar would do something like that. I've heard of it, but takes the shot immediately for starting to talk. Doesn't even need to hear the banana bread, so Wodar might have been more on top of the bug than we would think from the neutral light, but it's definitely a little bit confusing. And you wanted to see the cough. Let's see, is it here? No, it's the game before this one. Or, God, I don't remember which game it is. Was it the first game or was it the second game? Wasn't it a twin who got shot?
I thought so.
Oh, here we go. This looks right. The cough is actually not incredibly visible because you can't see the arm, so you really just have to see the head tilting a little bit. So it's still a really impressive catch from Wodar to be so confident about Pukoft. All right, well, I think that's all that I wanted to look at. So congratulations again to Wodar, and thank you, SpedMonkey, for casting.
Thanks for having me, as always.
And thank you to the players for allowing us to cast them, and thank you to everyone for watching. Coming up this week on the official channel on the weekend, we have the Tournament of Position Final Four, as well as promotion matches on Sunday. And there are still hazard matches being played this week, which may be cast officially as well. So with that, have a good night, everyone.
Good night.